everybody, and welcome to the first awesomely amazing epic episode of Toon Talk, the show where we go in depth to World War Toons and tell you more about the game and the people behind it. I am Community Manager Will, and I am joined by the amazing associate producer Corey. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So let's go ahead and get into it. What does an associate producer do?
Okay, so at a company like this, we've got a bunch of amazing artists and coders and designers and riggers and all these people who actually make the game, and my job is to do everything else.
Okay, so I would imagine that, dealing with so many different people that you run into issues, what is the biggest issue that you've run into so far with World War Toons?
Biggest issue with World War Toons? Honestly, it's a really interesting project because usually in a creative sort of environment, you've got one person who's sort of the big name or the bully in the room who kind of takes things over. Mm-hmm. And here we've got all these guys from Call of Duty and Disney and like all these amazing places that have come in together with these incredible backgrounds, and everyone has something to offer, and everyone wants to work with everybody else. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes it just becomes a problem of, hey, that's like 20 great ideas, which one do we do?
Yeah.
And again, like as on the production level, it becomes my job sometimes to be like, pick one, and just to make a decision happen with these amazing creative people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely have a family environment here. Sometimes people have to take off early because they're sick or
right.
They have families and whatnot to deal with. So it's a really nice environment here.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it too. So obviously this isn't your first rodeo. Where have we seen you before?
Right. I actually have mostly an animation background. So I started on a show called X-Men Evolution and got to do a bunch of Marvel projects. So Next Avengers and Hulkverse and the first actual feature Avengers movie I got to work on, which was animated and was fun. And then I betrayed everyone and went over to DC and got to work on Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Justice League stuff, which was also very fun. Really good folks over at Warner Brothers. Mm-hmm. And then a show for the NFL, which was a delightful challenge. And then most recently at a tour. It was called the Marvel Experience, where we created some really cool, like a dome experience. You mm-hmm. walk in and Captain America throws his shield and it spins all the way around your head, and you have to turn around and look, and motion rides and Spider-Man climbing walls, and a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually went to, I believe it was Kamikaze, and they had a little almost like a board game of it, okay. where you could see all the little domes and what they,
yeah.
which one was, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was a neat model.
It was.
Yeah.
Did you help with that at all? Did you help associate produce that?
You know what? No.
Oh, well then. Anyways, all right, so I'm going to ask you 5 questions that I'm going to ask every other person that comes by the show.
Okay.
That way the fans can compare answers and
Sure.
choose their favorite, and then associate produce their own little action figures for them.
Okay.
So, question number 1. What is your favorite food?
My favorite food is sushi.
Sushi. Okay.
Sushi.
What is your favorite type of sushi? Like when you go to the sushi bar, you say, I would like a California roll, but since your favorite food is sushi, I really doubt that's what your favorite is.
Probably not. You know what I've learned is that the guy on the other side of the counter knows sushi a lot better than I do. And so the best sushi I've ever had is when I say, you give me things and I will eat them. And that's turned out very well for me in the past.
Now, you also have been in Japan. You spent some time there.
That's true.
Now, do you consider sushi in Japan to be much better than here in America?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I was actually a student in Japan in the great city of Fukuoka. And so I was there for 9 months and got to experience a lot of really great stuff, but I did not have money. So most of the things I experienced were ramen and takoyaki and gyoza and things that I could make on my own for 99 cents.
All right. Well then, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie? There are many good movies. I think if I had to pick one, I would point to an OVA that actually came out in 4 parts called Macross Plus.
Now, is that a spin-off of Robotech?
That is a complicated question. Sort of. It's a continuation from Macross, which was the Japanese original Robotech. Short answer.
All right.
And it was very good. The director is a guy named Shinichiro Watanabe, who went on to make Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, and it's like the animation. It's right before they started doing CG with everything, so it's some really good 2D machines flying and love and music, and it's really good.
All right.
Macross Plus.
What is your favorite video game?
My favorite video game,
aside from World War Toons.
I would say Final Fantasy VII.
Okay. Now, what was it? The story, the materia system. What drew you in so much?
That's a good question. It was a really good story. It was a really interesting world, and the characters were captivating, and I actually liked that something happened. It wasn't just. With all respect to Mario, it wasn't just dun 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 whatever. You did something and you like fell in love with characters, and then the characters died. Spoiler, sorry. And you fell in love with somebody else. But it moved you. Like there was something. You feel like you went on a journey with these guys, and it was really good. And I'm so excited they're making another upgrade.
A remake.
Remake.
Yeah. So, did you level up Aerith on your first go around?
I was trying like crazy to avoid spoilers. I didn't know I had a limited amount of time, so sort of, but not that much. Later on, I saw like all these strategy guides, and if you get Aerith to level 99, you can do all these really cool things. And I thought, who did that? Because anyway,
exactly.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah, me neither. Who is your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero is Captain America.
All right. What about U.S. Agent?
U.S. Agent is lame.
Okay, so there's been multiple iterations of Captain America. You've got Bucky, you've got Steve Rogers, all that. Now,
Falcon actually took it over recently.
That's true.
Yeah.
So who has been your favorite person to don the shield?
Steve Rogers, right?
Aside from Steve Rogers, that's the obvious answer.
Well, it's the correct answer.
That's true.
I actually think it was a really interesting idea during the whole Civil War thing. Steve Rogers actually ran into the Punisher, and the Punisher had always respected Captain America, even though it wasn't really mutual. And then there was, for a while, they were talking about when Steve Rogers was assassinated and he died before he came back. Spoilers?
It's Marvel. Everybody comes back.
It's true. But the Punisher was going to take over the role, and I thought that was a really interesting idea. Like, somebody who was that dark taking on that mantle of righteousness. Like, that was an interesting idea.
I'm with you. I remember that. He had the skull, but it was like white and blue or something along those lines, right?
Yeah, it was an interesting thingy.
Yeah. It seemed like a lot of fun, a lot of detour for that character.
Yes.
All right, and the final question: what is your favorite class in World War Toons?
My favorite class in World War Toons, actually. One of the fun things about the game is that they all have their strengths, and it's always cool to be able to play one and then maybe switch to another and explore something else. But if I had to pick just one, I like the officer, I think.
Okay.
Because he's just teeny tiny and he zips all over the place and he's hard to hit, and I like that.
All right, so before we go, we're actually going to stop by our Street Fighter machine that we have in our office. Doesn't everybody?
Sure.
And we're going to go ahead and do something that we call the Street Fighter Challenge. Alright, so here we are with Street Fighter Challenge. So in the office we have a Street Fighter machine, but it's not a regular Street Fighter machine. It's Rainbow Edition, which means that a lot of stuff has been changed, such as Guile can throw sonic booms from the air, Ryu can throw super slow fireballs. So
wacky. What
we're going to do is we're going to see how far Corey here can get just facing the computer, and then we're going to have a leaderboard with everybody else as they continue to play. So who do you think you're going to choose?
To play?
Uh-huh.
I think I'm going to choose Blanca.
Why?
Because he bites people in the face.
Sounds like a good enough reason for me. So, let's go ahead and see how he does.
No!
Alright, so you got to the first level and lost.
Yes.
Alright, well, that's 0 on the leaderboard for Corey. And we're back. So, that went pretty amazingly. And before you go, I'd like to talk about our final segment, which I like to call Rough Draft. It's where we unveil something new from the game. And this week, we are going to unveil the M5 Stuart Tank. So, what you're looking at now is the M5 Stuart Tank. You can see that we've made it a little bit more cartoony, we've rounded out some of the edges, made it a little bit more fun. And while you're looking at these images, I'm going to give you some facts about the M5 Stuart. The M5 Stuart was actually named after Jeb Stuart, who was a general in the Civil War. There were a ton of variants for the M5 Stuart, including where they took off the turret on the top and put a flame gun on there and literally turned it into a flame tank. They also removed the barrel off the front and put a bulldozer blade on it, turning it into a utility vehicle. And finally, the M5 eventually became the M5A1, where they turned the barrel in the front into a larger one to carry larger ammo, and the gun on the top turned into a Browning anti-aircraft gun. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, Corey, for being my first amazing guest.
Yay!
And later this week, we're actually going to be at TwitchCon, so be sure to tune in Friday at 2:30 Pacific time to the official Kappa stream to watch us, and we're actually going to be unveiling the online mode for World War Toons. So thank you very much, everybody, and stay tuned.